I've had an interest in glass for a long time, and my mother had a very small collection of paperweights that I used to look at when I was a child. And I think I've been very fascinated by looking into things and seeing little tiny environments inside of an object. My name is Kathy Richardson, and I am a glass artist working in Winona, Minnesota. My mother was a florist and grew orchids and a lot of different types of flowers. I grew up in Virginia where there were a lot of woods, so I'm attracted to woodland, pond scenes. I was trained as a geologist. I have master's and PhD in geology, and I was technically a geochemist, which meant I studied the chemistry of rocks and minerals. The paperweight I will be making is a lampwork vacuum encased paperweight. When I make paperweights, I first work at the torch and I sculpt a lot of very tiny objects. I think the most exciting part of it is once you get enough of these small objects on the hot plate, then you can start really being creative. I take the original ideas from a variety of sources. Once I have this idea, I have to learn how to create that in glass. And I do that by taking glass rods and sculpting over a very small flame. I'm manipulating those rods into frogs, salamanders, coral, jellyfish, flowers, leaves. Those objects are then put together into a composition, and then that composition is put into a chamber, which is just a cylinder that it goes into. Then I encase that in crystal clear glass and use a process called vacuum encasing, which means that the hot glass goes down over those tiny objects and is pulled down with a vacuum. And then the paperweight is shaped and formed into a sphere. There are only a handful of people in the world that make lampworked vacuum encased paperweights. It takes me anywhere from 4 to 12 hours of work at the torch to make the small sculptures that go inside. And then it usually takes about an hour to an hour and a quarter to make the paperweight. It's not uncommon to have a piece of coral break, an octopus tentacle break, or a leaf or a petal fracture or crack or break. That's why I check carefully after we've done the encasing process to see whether it's been successful. Everything I do is magnified. The paperweight has a curved surface. It magnifies everything I do. So I make things that are very, very tiny, and they look a lot larger when you see them in the paperweight. That means that I have to be very careful if I make mistakes. The mistakes are magnified. So if something doesn't work, I just simply throw it away and start again. Because you do not make good art by magnifying mistakes.